Okay, hello. Just making sure we're good to go. There we go. You heard that multiple times there. So it looks like we are live. Hello and welcome to this episode, Photography Live Show. We are going to be concentrating on something slightly different in this one. It's all about making your photography camera a live streaming camera. So what we'll do today is I'll look at some of the questions that have been raised. There's been a number of questions that have come up and I'm going to basically answer them so we can find out what's being questioned basically about the process. So making your camera into a live streaming camera can be tricky. There's a number of things you need to think about. I made a full playlist, which I can probably show you. So that's my playlist there about a video capture card for live streaming. There's currently 7 videos in there. Cheap live streaming video capture card review, which is basically the HDMI card that I'm using. 2 HDMI video capture cards for live streaming. Can you record video from a capture card to a mobile phone or a tablet? Setup guide and test eBay video capture card. Why I don't use a capture card, or why I didn't use a capture card. How do you get sound from a capture card? What is the best camera for live streaming? So when these videos went out, they're all around making my photography camera into a live streaming camera. So I have the 5D Mark II, which is an old camera. I'm using the 550D, which is another old camera. And I'm going to basically answer the questions and hopefully help you. So in the chapters, make sure to check this out. It's designed for replay purposes as well. So if you weren't able to make it to the live show, no problem. All the questions will be linked in the chapter. So if you have that problem, you can jump to that and I'll give you an answer. If you are in chat, make sure to say hello and I'll keep an eye out. If you have a question, raise it and we can basically get you set up for live streaming, because we've done it enough times to be able to answer enough questions. So if I go over to the first video and let's show you this. Okay, so on the first video, it was around getting the capture card to work for a mobile device, because I know not everybody is going to have a PC or a laptop. So you may want to use it on a different device, so a mobile phone. So you might have a console like a PS4 or something, and you want to plug it into your phone and record it. So then you can edit that and upload it. Yeah, that's an option. So let's have a look at the questions. Okay, couple of things here. So thanks for your help. That was basically, they liked the video. Hey dude, after watching this, I got the video capture device and USB thing to attach to my phone, but now I'm a bit stuck. Lol. I'm trying to record stuff from my Xbox. I'm hoping to play the Xbox on the TV and record gameplay to save to my phone. That is a very good question. So basically, Carl asked about the capture card and the mobile phone, but he's had a challenge. So if you're recording your gameplay on your mobile phone, how do you play? Because it's going to be slightly laggy on the phone. So I basically went back to him and said, what you need to do is get a HDMI splitter. This allows you to see it on 2 screens, something like this. If I open that and show you what that basically looks like. So you'll see there, that allows you to have 1 HDMI in, but you can have 2 HDMI outs. So in that example, he would have his console going into it, and then the 2 leads that he had coming out of it, he'll put one into his phone for recording, and a duplicate screen would show on a monitor if you plugged it into a monitor. So that would answer that question. So if you're having a problem with that, that should solve it. HDMI splitter. So let's go back to that. Okay, another question here. Capture PUBG Mobile to OBS, please answer me. Okay. No problem, we'll get to it. We'll get through these, and there's a few more on a few other videos, so I'll go through them in video order. So please answer me the video capture card, PUBG mobile game, capture mobile to PC OBS live streaming. So I wasn't sure, you can't see this, can you? Okay, so I wasn't sure if I understood his question. Let me just make sure we're live and we're good. If you're in chat, make sure to say hi, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and answer them here. Basically, today's session is about HDMI capture card and making your photography camera a live streaming camera. We've got a few special questions coming up, and I'll show you a few videos as well, just to let you know how things can be set up quickly. Okay, so if I understand your question, you want to record your mobile screen onto your PC via OBS. Is this the case? If this is the case, you need to get a mobile to HDMI adapter. Please check your phone for the right model like this. Then the HDMI cable to the capture card to your PC. This should work. I will plan to test. I'll test it basically. So what he was asking for is part of the HDMI capture card. We were capturing the gameplay. How about if you were to flip that? Let's have a look. So if you wanted to flip that in the sense that you wanted to record your screen on your computer. So instead of getting a signal out of this, going the other way, that's where something like this would come into hand. I ordered the wrong one because I've ordered a Type-C and my phone isn't a Type-C. What this allows you to do is you plug one into your phone, you plug another one into the HDMI, and then on OBS, you can actually record your screen on OBS. So it's like another way around of doing it. So showing your menus and things like a live screenplay. So I'm hoping that answers. I gave him a link to that lead, and I did mention make sure you get the right model, because what will happen is if you're not Type-C, you want the right one for your phone device even. Okay, so that was another one. That was the mobile Android one. So let me get you back on that screen. So that was that. So what I'll do now is I'll show you how to record your mobile phone. How to record gameplay on your mobile phone. So if I take you to that segment now, which will basically wrap up this segment. So the questions are about that video. I'll play that video to you. Can you record gameplay with the capture card on your mobile phone? So what I mean by this, I had a comment on another video that I made about this capture card, because I basically did like a full-on 15-minute video about everything to do with the capture card. I'm a photography channel, so I use it for this type of thing, talking to camera, making footage of different angles and stuff. However, someone asked me, can you use that on a mobile phone or for gameplay? I don't have a computer console, so I don't have a PS4, PS3, Xbox 75 or whatever it's out at the moment. So sorry, I'm not that good with gaming. However, my thinking is if I can show you this working on my mobile phone, then with a camera via HDMI, then there's no reason why you can't use a computer with HDMI, because all it basically is, it's a signal, isn't it? So if it's getting to the phone and it's saving it and you can use it, it doesn't matter if it's a view of a camera or if it's a view from a computer console. So that's my thinking. So the main thing I'm going to test right now is how to use the video capture card, if it even works. So I'm just going to test it. I've done some little apps that I've checked. So what you need to think about is, I think I'll give you the full disclaimers before I show you the full-on thing. I'll link in chapters, so if you want to skip straight to me doing it, link to it. But it's worth noting these things because they're important. So the capture card is a HDMI capture card. It's an input. So the signal coming out of your console will be an out, which means it goes into this, then it outs into a USB. So you need to be able to get your USB into your mobile phone, which means you need an adapter cable, which I'll link in the description. So in the description of this video, you'll see links to all of these cables. So you can just click on it and it'll show you the Amazon link. They're Amazon associate links. This is an Otg cable, which is basically my Android there to a USB, which then allows me to plug in the USB there, capture card. Let me show you a top-down view of this so you can see it properly with the leads. So here is the capture card, and that's the lead. So that capture card is a HDMI video capture card. You use this video capture card to capture HDMI video and make it a USB signal for your computer, or I'll say device now because you're trying it on a mobile phone. So this converter here makes a USB into the mini, is it a mini USB for Android? It's not mini USB. It's, yeah, whatever that cable is called. I'll put it in the description. You'll see the link to it. So now that's plugged into my phone. So the next challenge is going to be making that signal readable by the phone. Because as soon as you plug it into the phone doesn't know what it is until you give it an app to say, okay, do this with it. So I'm plugging in a HDMI cable there. Let me get my camcorder. That's what we'll use for this test. So the camcorder will be something that you can use to give out an output signal. So right now that is plugged in there, so you'll get an out signal from that. So this camcorder can be replaced with your computer console or whatever it is you've got, Xbox, PS65 or whatever it is. So that bit can be done there. Now on my phone I need to find some apps that let me convert that signal or view that signal. I have a Huawei phone. So let me show you some apps. So you can see this screen here is a view of basically my phone. So that is the first app I tried, which is like it basically lets let me make this bigger screen so you can see the full thing. You don't need me to see me in there. Okay, so that is an Otg View app on Android. It basically lets you view whatever's plugged in the device. So if I've installed it, let me kick that off. So if I go to the phone, I'm basically recording my screen so you can see it right now. So I'm hoping you see this. All my videos I record in OBS as one take. So sorry if this seems unplanned or anything. It's just me talking to you. I'm not editing anything fancy. Okay, so now let me bring that Otg View up. There it is. Otg View recognized that is a device plugged in. However, it was blank. The screen's just blank. It wouldn't give me a view of my device. I even tried a USB webcam just to see if it was the capture card or anything. That didn't work. Next, I installed Prism Live Studio to see if that lets me use it. That didn't let me view it either. It came as a black screen. Then I tried the USB camera app. It came up with this, but again, it's very it's like fully add-on ads everywhere and that. So here, blank screen, nothing was showing for the camera. So those apps did not work for me on the Huawei phone. However, guess what? I made it work, but not on a Huawei phone. So I think if you have a Samsung product, you might be better off, because I have a Samsung tablet, like an old one, tablet Galaxy 2. I don't use it much, but I dusted it off, charged it up so I can test this for you and see if it works. Here's me testing it with the tablet. So in this case, for the tablet, you'll need a different device. I have a Galaxy Tab OTG connection, which is this thing here. Again, links in the description so you can pick these up if you have a tablet or anything else really, because they all offer them. It's a USB already on this. So now I'm going to plug my capture card into the USB and then plug all of this up with the HDMI lead. So let me get that HDMI lead again from my camera. Again, remember, you can make this a camera. You can make it, I've got loads of these USB thingies. One I bought, one I was sent free. Which is a separate video. You might have seen my last upload about the promoted one. But yeah, there'll be links to buy these in the description, so check them out. I know they're hard to pick up at the moment because everybody's after them. So now this OTG I'm trying to plug in the bottom of my Samsung tablet. I'm struggling. Let me turn it on. Okay, just make sure it's unlocked there. So I installed the PC webcam USB camera tool. The one that didn't work on my Huawei worked on my tablet. So now this is going to be based on what mobile phone you have. So again, I'm using my camcorder. So here's the camcorder, and I'm basically using that as an output. So in this case, your console would be the camera, if that makes sense. I opened up the app. It says to me it's recognizing I've got a USB device, and straight away on my tablet it worked. Look at that. Give it a little wave. So that's really unusual. It worked on a tablet. It didn't work on the mobile phone. However, my mobile phone is a Huawei. I used to try and use it as a, like a display for a DSLR with the OTG cable, and the Huawei didn't used to work. So I think it might be a restriction on the phone as opposed to anything else. I used to use my old Samsung phone as a DSLR monitor, and that worked. So, moral of the story, if you want to record your gameplay on your mobile phone, because not all of us have computers or laptops, so it makes sense. It's a good question the guy asked me. I'm hoping this video helps you with that, because what I'll do is I'll link you to this playlist of other things you can do with the capture card, but this example basically shows you it working. If you have a comment, let me know in the description. I'll try and answer you. Okay, so that was basically wrapping up the mobile phone bit. So could you use a mobile phone to record gameplay? We answered the questions, and then I showed you that video clip to cover that off. The next one is a few more questions If you pop in chat, make sure to drop your question and I'll answer it. I'll just bring up the ones we've got. So if I go, okay, so on the capture card video, I bought one and a Campark Extreme action camera. This is a question. And a whole week. For a whole camera, and for a whole week I have bought many mini USB cables and still cannot get the camera to pay or show anything. Letting on show up in add a video capture device in OBS Studio, help please. Okay, so Bazara Media asked that question. So I think that might have been under the he's asked the question under my HDMI video one, but I think it relates to an action camera. So I think you're after my action camera as a webcam video. This HDMI card is for cameras with a HDMI out. Here is an old video, so I linked him to another video to answer that question. What else we got? Okay, first view. Hello, thank you. Great to have the first view and first reply you've got. What else have we got here? Okay, Mr. Shan. Hi, a friend bought this to use it from a PS4 to PC, but he's having issues making it work. Is there any specific instruction needed, or is this an only camera use? Yes, any device with a HDMI out can be used. You can replace the camera with the game console. Here's a full guide. So that is basically, if you have, I showed you everything with a digital camera, photography camera, you could easily replace that with a games console and the same rules apply. So basically it's just a signal that's changing from the HDMI cable. It's not a camera feed, it's a gameplay feed. Hi, can you test it on smartphone Android? It's a UVC device, so it should work, just need OTG adapter. So okay, I don't know if that was a question or he's letting me know that it already works. Okay, can you please test if its display and record video and audio to smartphone by using USB camera app? Okay, so yeah, I tested that, which is basically what you just saw. If you're joining late, you can watch in replay. There are chapters, but I showed you how to do that, so I answered that question. I did mention, however, not on Huawei phone, but on Samsung tablet it worked, but my old tablet was not powerful enough to record at 60 frames a second. So this will depend on the types of phones you have got, so keep that in mind. It didn't work on a Huawei, it worked on a Samsung, so possibly that might be something to keep an eye on. Will this work with my PS4 to iMac, so I can play on my iMac rather than recording? I just bought this device and tried out with what you said, but no, you can't do it, only record. That's not entirely correct. Someone else answered that. So we'll go back to Mini and mention that you can watch what you're recording if you use a HDMI splitter. So you can see what's going into each feed, which is one of the options we showed you in Amazon. Again, if you go back a couple of minutes, you'll see the answer to that question. So I'm hoping that helps you. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, is this through a USB to mini HDMI? In this example, it is via a USB. If you have a capture card, then you use the HDMI. Here's a complete guide for the latter. So I'm hoping that sorted him out. Thanks, I'm using the Canon 550 and I would rather use the USB to mini HDMI. So then I asked, does that work for you? Because if he wants to use that, does that mean he's telling me that he's tested it and it works? Because I don't think that would work. But I'm sure he came back. I haven't used yet. I need to buy either that cable or capture card. That's where the question came from. So it was a question. He wasn't telling me that it works. He was asking me if it would work, because I think I took that as he is using that. Okay, so you need a capture card to use HDMI. If you use USB, then it needs to be the old EOS 2 linked in the video I shared above, which was that link there. You cannot use a USB to HDMI without a capture card. So that I'm hoping sorted out. Okay, yeah, understood. That helps. Thanks. So that I'm hoping if you have those kind of questions, you will find that useful. But yeah, there's a number of things you can do because there's loads of types of cables that can adapt things. So it's good them types of questions are coming through. Let me have a look at what's next. Okay, we've had a recent one. I'll look at that one. So there's some information there. Okay, this might help for the gamers out there. Let me just check we are good. And are we all right on the stats? Do let me know if you pop in and have a question, drop it in chat and I'll pick it up as we go through the show. Remember, it's about the live stream and how to use your photography camera for a live stream. Okay. Just check that out. Yes, okay. So let's go to the next one now. What I might do is actually I might show you another section before I go on to the next. No, let's answer the question and then we go to the video itself. So let's bring up the playlist. Again, in the cards, there's a playlist link so you can see the individual videos if you'd like to see just the one you're interested in. Okay, so here's how to get the best visual quality out of this capture card. I've spent a good few hours experimenting to find this out. Thank you, Aman Cars. Okay, so I believe this capture card only outputs a limited reference range, 16 to 235, which means on PC the image will be washed out or darked out, so not getting the best quality. How I fixed it. Oh, you can't see this, can you? Okay. How I fixed it. Put my Xbox 360 reference levels display settings to standard limited. Then in Streamlabs OBS video capture device settings, I set color range equals full. Then add color correction filter to video capture device, gamma 0.07, contrast plus 0.02, and brightness minus 0.01. The gamma was a minus as well. Now the color and brightness will be perfect. Now on your PC monitor, the video capture card shows black equals 0 and white equals 255. No longer washed out, 16235 range, now full 0255 range. You can test if you wish by going to your game in video calibration settings for brightness and take a screenshot and import to Photoshop the blacks RGB 0 and the whites RGB 225. That is actually some great advice just to make sure that the colors are bang on for your games. So thank you for sharing that. I did all the steps you said, but when I click USB video, it's just a black screen. It doesn't show me what's on my camera. Can you help me please? Do I need to configure settings on the camera? I have a Canon T6i and I'm trying to connect to Streamlabs OBS for Twitch. It works with my Sony camera but not on my Canon. Help please. Okay, so this is a common one. If you've set it all up and in the drop down in OBS your screen's black, all you do is reselect the camera. So click on the drop down, it'll drop down, you'll see the Canon EOS webcam tool, just select it again and you'll hear your camera shutter release and it'll actually work, because sometimes it just shows a black screen but it just needs to be reinitiated, or even close OBS and open OBS again. One of those things will help solve that. Do you think it would work for Nintendo Switch? You guys know I'm not big on gaming consoles, so I asked you to see if that is right. If you're in chat, make sure to say hi. If you have a question, drop it in chat and I'll try and get to it. It is a live stream, so I'm just going through the common questions that we've had as part of making your photography camera a live stream camera. So hi everybody in chat. Okay, so do you think it would work for the Nintendo Switch? I asked, does it have a HDMI out? He says, I believe yes. Then I said, yes, it does. So anything with the HDMI out will allow you to make, where's my capture card gone? I had it here a minute ago. That's the fun about being live. You put stuff down and it just goes missing. Yes, so if you have any type of device, you can use the HDMI feature as part of recording it. So we're talking about the photography side of stuff because you're using photography camera for live streaming. However, you could easily make that a games console if you had a HDMI out, whether that's an Xbox or a PS4 or a Nintendo Switch, like the chap was asking here. Tomato Tom asked that. Tomato, remember Tangy Toms, the crisps? Reminds me of them. Okay, so that was Tangy Tom sorted out. He's not called Tangy Tom, but I'm calling him Tomato Tom. Okay, can I do live stream through my iPhone using this capture card? And then I linked him to the video because earlier on we answered that question and I showed you the video of how to record on your Android device. But he's got did you say an iPhone? Okay, you might be challenged with an iPhone. but there are similar recording softwares. I might test that out. That's a good one, actually. We'll have to test that out. I'll make another video for that. Okay, I just want to stream PUBG Mobile using this product. Can I do it? Someone else is coming. You can. Minecraft, so he must know his stuff. Minecraft guys know their stuff normally. You can if you buy a lightning to HDMI connector, but that can be quite pricey. Is it pricey? Let's find out. Lightning to HDMI, how much will that cost? What is pricey? Let's have a look. If I do Amazon, hopefully you can see this on screen. No, you can't. Let me drag that down. There, you can see that now, hopefully. Okay, so how much is a lightning to HDMI? 20 quid? 44, 35. Yeah, it depends on what your budget is. But there's a few options there. Interesting mention. Again, that's the playlist that we're looking at with all the questions that were asked. Okay. I think the link I gave above would help you, which is basically explaining it on the phone. Thank you. And that was sorted. So, okay, really helpful video. Thank you. Can you link where you bought the female HDMI to male mini HDMI online? And I've given you the links, Jaron. Hopefully that sorted you out. And okay, so I am using a Sony Nex 5 camera and I'm unable to use it as a webcam for Skype or Zoom video calls. Will the capture card method work for my camera? Please suggest. If it has an HDMI out, then yes, it will. I don't have that camera, so I wasn't sure. You could easily search Google for that model of camera, which I'll do for you now, actually, because we're trying to help you guys set that up. HDMI out. So it's as easy as putting your camera model in and saying, does it have HDMI out? Okay, so someone's done a test on it. So search Google for your phone with that and you'll see the test. Hopefully that sorts you out. But yeah, there's quite a few people covering this off. So I'm hoping that if you don't find the answer on the videos I've done, do a quick search. You'll find someone who has the content. So as long as you get sorted, I don't mind how you get sorted. So you could be watching somebody else's video, but as long as you get to where you want to be. If not, let me know and I'll make another video if I have to. Okay, and can I get clean HDMI out from a Nikon D3000? I don't have a Nikon, but Google says yes, it does. So the Canon D33,000 does have a HDMI clean out signal. Joshua, so I'm hoping that sorted you out. Can you tell me how I can remove the square in the middle? I don't know how. I want to record from the PC screen without recording from the camera itself. I want to record from the PC screen without recording from the camera itself. Okay, I explained in the full setup. I tried it, but you said Canon 60D. I think I said 550D, which is that one, and the 5D Mark II, that one. But 60D has dual pixel. Is it 60 or 70D that has a dual pixel autofocus? Still, I have the annoying middle bar present. The 60D does not have a clean HDMI. You might be able to use the Canon webcam tool. See here. Okay, there's another one here. We'll do these two and then I'll well, there's quite a few actually. Okay, that's fine. Let me show you. Should I show you that setup video? Because it might answer your question. Let's go to that. You'll see the setup video because then this will basically be one point of reference for everyone. So if you have a question in this live stream replay, you'll get the answer for everything because I'm going to put all the videos in here. So let me go to that segment and play you that. One moment, caller. I'll place you on hold. Okay, after some investigation, the video clip I'll show you is how to use two HDMI capture cards. So that's not answering this question, but while I get that question ready, I'll play you this clip. It's a VT, like they say in the old days. So you'll see that and then I'll come back to you. Should you buy two HDMI video capture cards for live streaming? So I've done a few videos about these cheap HDMI video capture cards. Can you use two of them at the same time? Is a good question. So I'm basically responding to loads of comments that have come up in the videos that I've done. I've done a full guide about how to use and set up the HDMI video capture card. I'll link to that in the cards. In the description, you'll find links to pick up these HDMI capture cards. I know it's been difficult to pick them up, but today in this video, I'm going to give you a full-on breakdown. In the past, I did that video where I put loads of chapters together and gave you like a full guide. This one is going to be about doing multiple cameras. So multiple cameras is something that can help you. Can you use two video capture cards at once? I'm going to cover that. In the video chapters, I'll put links so you can skip to the bit you want to be looking at. You might not want to watch the whole thing, which is fine. Can you set up two cameras with HDMI capture cards? How to set up HDMI capture card with two cameras. I'm going to show you this on OBS. I'll show you the benefit of it. Before we go further, let me show you what it looks like. So for example, let me show you this video. I made this video for another channel. Today we're and that channel, you can see I'm using two
watches, some gadgets.
Two cameras. So I've got one is a HDMI Canon, one is a HDMI Panasonic one camcorder. So that's why it's good, because you can do live sessions. So look at this.
But if you're here,
you can do live sessions and show multiple views of stuff. That was the Mudmaster rip-off watch that I did a thing on. You can do other things. So for example, let me not show you that right now. Let me show you my screen. So top-down shots. So that is a Panasonic camera facing down on my desk. And then I can skip between that and then do a front view and show you me speaking about the item. So you got two cameras. So it's good for videos. It makes your workflow a lot easier. I record everything into OBS directly. So what you're seeing now is one take. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Tough. It's one of those. It's like, you know what, I'm going to get the video out there. If it helps people, which it looks like it has been, because the video capture cards, people asking a lot of questions. So I want to be able to give you quick answers. And this makes it a bit more interesting because I can show you stuff while I'm doing it and like switch between cameras live, which is handy. So there's different scenarios like tablets. I use that. I show you the like how to set it up on an Android device, which I did a separate video on. So that's the idea behind it. That's like a summary. But now I'll get into the sections of setting it up. So this title is probably going to be, can you use two video capture cards at once? Yes, you can use two HDMI video capture cards at once. These are USB powered. You plug them into your USB on your computer, and then it gives you an input of a HDMI. So if you have two cameras, like in the thumbnail of this video, I've got two camcorders. Well, I've got a camcorder and a Canon camera. They both have HDMI outs, which allows me to plug these into my computer twice. I've got a number of these now, so they're quite handy. And it gives me multiple angles. For gameplay, you can use one for your console to show the gameplay footage. You can use one for your face, like in the corner. So it's quite handy for that. How to set it up. So how do you set up multiple cameras for live streaming? You want one camera on a tripod, like I've got just now, which faces you. You can have a secondary camera on the right hand side on a tripod out of shot and focused in on your desk. If you're doing a desk shot, that is. You can have it on a top down shot. Separate videos about all of that stuff. Can you set up two cameras with HDMI capture cards? You can. How do you do it? How to set up multiple cameras for live streaming? You're going to need a software. I've got another video about how to make webcams for streaming, how to stream and stuff. So I'll link you to that in the card somewhere maybe. So if I show you my OBS screen, we'll talk you through how to set it up. So OBS HDMI. Right now, that is my sources screen on Streamlabs OBS. You can see I have my display capture, which is showing you what I'm doing. I add a source. Once I add a source, I go to video capture device. You select that and you do add source. Once you add source there, what will happen is it will allow you to pick a new camera source. So I'm adding a new one. I'll call it HDMI 1. Let's call it 1 as in the letter 1. It'd be better, wouldn't it? Okay, there. I'll add source, and then it comes to a screen. Once your USB devices are plugged into your computer, it'll give you there. See that USB video? That is both of those cards. If I had 3, it'll show me 3. As long as you've got the USBs on your computer or laptop, you're fine. So there's HDMI 1. I can turn it on and off by the eye. Depends how familiar you are with OBS. I might do a separate video if that's something you want to know about. So, okay, next one I'll do again. I want to add a video capture device. Add source. do a new source. Let's call it a new name. So I'll call this one HDMI 2. So for the second camera, just remember which one is which. So when you're switching between them is a bit more nicer for the viewer. So here I picked the second one. So right there, I've been able to add that, done. And I have two cameras, 1 and 2. So that shows you how easy it is to add in OBS. And what that allows you to do is you can just untick it while you're doing a session. So right now I'm recording the video. I can just click and show you a different view, which is handy. So that's how to set it up. That's why you would set it up. It might be worth picking up multiple HDMI video capture cards, because if you're in the game of making like talking videos about products, about stuff like I do. So I talk about photography stuff. So sometimes I show my camera, I show the settings, I show like a flash, I show my desk. All those things are very handy for video capture cards. So that will answer all your questions if you should buy two. If they work, which I've tested and it does work, you can have 2 of them. Well, you can have 3 in theory because I've got 3 at the moment. So yeah, as long as you've got the USB devices, you can buy USB extending hubs, which lets you use more of them. Just remember, when you plug these into the drive, they're kind of quite thick, so it'd be hard to plug them next to each other. So you can get little extension cables for USB which plug in and make it a lot easier. So that answers your question about can you use them. I've got a whole playlist dedicated to these video capture cards. Check the description for the notes, and also the chapters will have everything broken down. So I'm hoping that you found this useful, but what I will do is I'll link you to another playlist of all of these videos. Okay, so that was a quick look at the setting up stage of it. So that was basically covering off having 2 at the same time. What we'll do now is back to some questions. So there seems to be a common type of question that's being asked. People are trying to use their camera, but I think they're not sure about let me just check this out for you. Yeah, I think they're not sure about the camera and the lead outs. So for example here, Melody, my camera has a mini USB-B port. I could get an adapter. So people are trying to adapt what their camera out is to try and get HDMI. That's a tricky one. So I got a bit confused. So I went back saying, I'm confused. Your camera only has a mini USB out. It does not have a mini HDMI out. If this is the case, you can't use the capture card, because this capture card is designed to use the HDMI out to be a USB into your PC. So long story short, we kind of looked at the options, and then I says to her, well, if you've got a Canon, try the Canon webcam tool, because that works via a mini USB out. So if you're not familiar with the Canon EOS webcam utility tool, that's a great option for this kind of stuff where it's like a small box and if you're doing gameplay. So we sorted Melody out with that question. Okay, this one, it was in Spanish, I think, but I used Google Translate to untranslate it. But he's basically asking about what he needs to do to set up his Canon T6. So I says, well, I've done it. Here's the video for it in Spanish. So, bam. Okay. Oh, nice one here. Lengthy one, it looks like. I am having a Canon EOS 750D camera. I also have the same HDMI video capture card, but I cannot see the video in both the LCD display of the camera and on the desktop monitor. I can only see the video on my desktop monitor only and not on my... Okay, so I think this was a bit interesting because he's trying to do a stream for his church, like a live stream for his Facebook group. So I'm thinking, I wasn't sure why he would need to do that, but I'm thinking maybe he's got a really long cable and he wants to be able to stand behind his camera to see on the screen as well as see on a display, like what I'm doing now, because my camera is about 12 feet away and zoomed in and my display is here. So if someone was behind that camera, they wouldn't see the picture behind the screen. So my suggestion was get a HDMI splitter and put a small screen or a monitor with your camera and plug the HDMI out there and the duplicate signal to the computer, which allows you visibility of the screen, like another way around that. So I'm hoping that sorted you out. What else do we have? Okay, so I ordered one of these myself thinking it was needed for my particular camera. I have a Sony A7 II and a A77. It turns out if you're, Sony's have their own software which allows you to make it a webcam, while most of the new Sonys and that model that you mentioned does. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame you've had to buy a capture card to find out that you don't need it. However, what you could do is what I do: use your Sony cam. Well, I don't have a Sony camera, but use your Sony camera as a main view. If you've got a camcorder or any other type of camera with an HDMI out, you can use that as a second angle. So you can have like two angles to make it more interesting in live stream. So that's probably an option for you. How are you able to charge the camera and broadcast the image? Every time I plug in the charging cable, the camera shuts down. So what camera is he using? He mentions a Nikon 520. So Canon's allows you a camera to be, so Canon cameras allow the camera to be powered via adapter unit. So it basically looks like a little battery. You put it into the camera, it's got a lead, and you plug it into the mains. And my Canon 550, which I'm using at the moment, I've streamed for, you could probably check out the old photography live shows, over an hour, sometimes like 70-80 minutes, and it's not turned off. Imagine it just turns off now. Yeah, so let's have a look. That's that. You can get adapters for units. Is this working for game capture iOS? Any device with HDMI can be used. Yes. All you do is in iOS you would use a different capture method. I think OBS works in iOS. Yeah, OBS works in iOS. So you could still use OBS. I have a Samsung model number and the same capture card. It shows up, but not my video, my library, but mirrored. Okay, so yes, I show you how the chapters of this complete setup here. So if you look at the complete setup guide, which I link in the description and in the cards, it's like a full 15-minute video where I show you each step by step. So if you watch the whole thing, it would help you. I will check it out, but is there a specific place? So yeah, I said if you look in the last 10 minutes of that video, that will help you. So look in the description, there's chapter stamps, and the last 15 minutes, no, the clip is 15 minutes. Was it? No, is that link I gave you is a 50-minute video. That's the one about using the Canon webcams and everything as webcams. You know what? I might play you a segment now to help you. What I'll do is I'll play you a segment which will show you what types of cameras are best for live streaming. So let me quickly show you that. What is the best camera for live streaming? In this video, I'm going to answer that question with a number of options for you. If you're new to live streaming, watch this whole thing. It's going to help you. So if you've got a good, healthy budget, or you don't have as much money to spend, there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to cover. You can see right now I have an action camera here. I've got a DSLR. I've got a webcam. I'm actually recording on a DSLR right there, and that wider view is on a camcorder. So you'll be interested to see how all of this works. I'm going to have options linked in the chapters. The options are going to be low budget, most affordable live stream camera, webcam for live streaming, action camera for live streaming, how to set up an Android mobile phone for live streaming in OBS. That's the program I use. My choice is OBS. I'm currently using right now. I could easily make this a live stream with multi-angle shots by just clicking go live. So you can see I can easily switch between cameras on screen. I can have a number of cameras. I'm going to talk to you about how to set up multiple cameras. So multiple camera live streaming. I'm going to talk to you about audio. I'm going to speak to you about lighting. Let me go back to wide shot. You could probably see down there is a light, which I've kind of directed to myself with a bit of card. There's a light just up here and a light behind me, which makes the 3-point lighting setup. And that helps tremendously with cheap cameras because their sensors might not be great, but you'll get really good quality out of them. I'm going to give you examples of all of these cameras with footage so you can see what they look like and you could pick the best one for you. So let's jump into it. Okay, so this is option 1. It's going to be a low budget, most affordable live streaming camera. What I'm going to put in this part is 2 things. I could probably put more things in there, but I'll put 2. Let me bring you to the wide shot. The 2 things I want to put in here is a webcam. So that's the webcam. Let me bring you in on my wide there. So that is a 1080p webcam. You saw I had that on the top down shot. I'll give you an example now of how it looks and what you can do with it and how I set it up. Hi guys, so if you're here to see how the Advent Full HD Pro 1080p action camera looks, this is being recorded with the actual webcam. So this is the quality. I'll take you on to the video now where you can actually see me comparing this with my current action camera that I use as a webcam, my DSLR camera, and a quick look at... Okay, so that was a quick look at the webcam footage. I recorded that earlier throughout my journey, so I want you to see how the quality looks of that and what it does for you. This webcam, it's not an expensive webcam, it's actually a cheap webcam. I'll put a link in the description so you can pick it up. This is the box for it. And in the UK, PC World and Currys seems to be the place that sells these. A lot of people have had complaints about it, but to be honest, if you're on a budget, you can easily put that on top of your monitor. You can stream for ages. There's no battery requirements. It's plugged in via USB, so it's going to continuously get power. It's not going to get too hot and turn off, which happens with other options I'm going to show you. So for a quick and dirty way of getting a web stream set up, that will be a good option. If you've got a gameplay, you can put this in the corner of yourself and have the video being recorded of the gameplay separately, which you'll need a capture card for, which I'm just dropping there, which I've done a separate video on, but I'll link you to other bits in this chapter.
It's a wireless webcam because you can see there I'm kind of like linked on a Wi-Fi network, so I can actually walk around and give you a tour and stuff as well, so that's quite good. So yes, let's see how to set up a mobile phone as a wireless web camera for live streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Skype, whatever have you. I'm taking to my screen now, we'll do that. So you're going to start with IP camera adapter. I'll put a link in the description. We start on our PC, so I'm downloading this straight onto my PC so I can get this ready before I go into the mobile phone store and app store and get the app. So I've been trying to do this for a while. There's loads of tutorials online. Some are outdated, some talk about NDI drivers and all sorts. That didn't work for me. I even tried doing a screen capture of my DSLR EOS utility tool, and that was a bit of a pain because it lagged. So this is what worked for me. I'm hoping you'll find it helpful. So IP camera, when you've downloaded it and installed it on your desktop, you're basically going to go onto your Windows menu and search IP camera and open up this little dialog box. It's got a few things in there like a address, username, password. Then you move over to your mobile phone and app store and you actually download the app IP webcam. That's what it looks like. I've already installed it. A straightforward install. Open it and then you'll get a screen with like loads of settings on. Go through and have a look at some of the settings. It's straightforward, but main things to worry about is the video resolution that you want to stream at or make the mobile phone video available at. I put it at 720 because anything higher than that would lag via YouTube streaming. Video quality I put on halfway, and orientation auto, so if you portrait or manually it'll do that, and the frame rates I put at max 30. So that's just those settings there, and once you've gone through that, right at the bottom it says start server, but we won't do that right now. What we'll do is we'll go and set a shortcut up on my mobile phone desktop. Just make sure that's all okay. Yes. So now back to the desktop, I've created the shortcut there. When you go right to the bottom, there's a little start server button. So that there will give you what your phone will show via the IP address, and right at the bottom it's got an IP address there. So that's the address you need. But what a lot of people don't tell you is when you put that IP address into the camera feed URL, you have to put / camera feed, or what was that? I'll put that in the description. I'll copy and paste it so you can use it. So once you click OK there, it will say successfully connected, and then you can go into your browser and actually put that same link in video feed. So / video feed. So you'll see now I can see that via my internet browser, which is a good thing because if you're using OBS, we can actually add it as a browser source. Because some of the guys on YouTube are saying add it as a video capture and screen capture, sorry, but that's a bit of a pain because you can't really move that screen around. If you do move it around, then that's going to cause you issues because if you have a screen over it. But here, back on Windows, basically open up the menu, camera IP. I didn't have OBS Streamlabs installed, so I couldn't record my recording screen. So this is a mobile phone is a bit amateurist, sorry, but it'll give you an idea of what's going on. So basically add it as a source, as a browser, call it wherever. I'll call it test IP or something. And when you click OK, it gives you this screen where you can put an internet URL. So that's where you want to put your IP address. You can change the resolution here to 1280 by 720, and then just make sure that it's shut off when it's not on that screen, so you can use that camera on multiple scenes. So click OK. So here that basically gives you that now. So I'll show you what that looks like. And actually it's a wireless webcam, because you can see there I'm kind of like linked on a Wi-Fi network, so I can actually walk around and give you a tour and stuff as well, so that's quite good. So yes, I think this will come in handy, because what I'm planning to do is, you'll see that's my starting screen, that's my main screen. So I'm looking just over here, I've got a chat screen, this is going to be for live stream, and news segment, a hold screen which plays a bit of music, live desktop, so you can actually see me doing stuff.
Okay, so that was a quick look at that earlier segment just to cover that off, so answering that question. So I think in the chapters you'll see all of these sections explained anyway, so you should click on the bit you're interested in, because these questions, I think everybody will have these questions, and I've seen some similar questions come up time and time again. So I'm hoping part of this show, it basically explains to you and answers your questions. So we're having a recurring kind of thing where people asking, does this camera work? So I'm having a Canon EOS 4000D camera. I also have the same HDMI video capture, but in not getting the video feed in OBS. I detect the video camera, but it's blank. Please assist, I'm confused. So I linked him to a video which shows how to reselect the camera from the drop down in OBS. Like we mentioned before, if you close OBS down, reopen it, it should re-trigger your camera, providing it's got battery power and it's plugged into the USB. So just make sure the leads are going into your PC, because that can be something. So he watched the video, but he was unable to get his answer question. But yeah, I went back to say, has this been sorted? And he hasn't come back. So I'm assuming that he's been sorted. So basically, if your camera is not showing up in OBS, it's a blank screen, reselect the drop down will answer that. Does HDMI capture card possible for Powershot? Any suggestions, please? So some people have answered that, but I think Google is going to be the best place to answer these kind of questions, because what we'll do is see if it has HDMI out. So let's do your camera model, HDMI out, because I don't have that Powershot camera. Connecting Powershot into the HDMI input as shown. Okay, so the camera does have a HDMI out, so you could use it. So someone else has come back. I am using the same HDMI capture card, and I have a Canon Powershot with mini HDMI, but not showing as live view for OBS. It only shows playback views. That might be because you have the playback option selected on the camera. Are you able to go to live view on camera so you can see? Because the HDMI is basically going to show you what the camera sees. So if it's in playback mode, it's going to show you playback. Put it into video mode, and that should get you sorted. Again, if you're joining in chat, make sure to comment your questions below or drop it in chat. We're answering them live today, so I can help you get this sorted, like these questions that we've had. Okay, so this is on the full setup video. So in theory, that was a 15-minute video that gave a full breakdown, but still we have questions. So it's interesting about different camera models, and we're covering that today. Okay, so hope you guys can help me with my issue. My capture card only shows quarter of my DSLR screen and OBS screen. What camera are you using? 90D. I've tried with another HDMI cable. Should I try it with another cable? But sometimes what can happen is, it depends how familiar you are with OBS, because with OBS you can shrink the screens. So you might alt click and re-engage the screen to make it full size so you can see the whole entry. If not, download the Canon EOS webcam tool and see if the whole thing shows there. If it does, then the same should apply to the capture card. Okay, so how do you get sound with it? In my test, it did not capture audio. I tested a few cameras and the audio did not feed. You can't see that. Let me see that. So now let me show you how to get audio from your capture card, which is the last segment video, and then I'll go to a few more questions, and that should be everything I've had so far. So we're going to get to, I've got how many more questions? Let me give you an estimate. So we have maybe 10 more questions. So we've gotten through about 15, and I've got 10 more. So once I get through those, that should answer everything that's been raised. So let me show you how to get audio from your capture card. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to show you how to set up your HDMI capture card to get sound from it. So how to get sound from a capture card, how to get audio via your HDMI USB capture card. So this plugs in. You may have seen my other videos. I've done quite a lot of these about the card, and specifically it's a cheap card. It's a great option to get you streaming and making stuff like I'm making now. You can even go fancy and do this kind of stuff where you've got multi angles. So I've got my really wide camera there, I've got my close camera here, and this helps with making your shots a lot more interesting, especially if you're streaming and you're doing live stuff. So I've done a bit of testing. On my other video I made about this capture card and audio, it did not work. Well, I didn't really use it because I use this mic which is plugged into a mixer board, which you might see on the wide view down here, like a Yamaha mixer. So this bad boy here, so that all works fine for me, so I don't really need to use this feature. But because someone commented about it, I want to show you how I did it and how it works. So the things you want to keep in mind is when you're doing videos, I'm going to use that camera there as my example. So you're going to be my example because that camera has audio and it's feeding in via HDMI. So in theory, when I set this up, you should hear me. You probably won't hear me that loudly because the camera's miles away. It's right over there. But yeah, when you hear me, you'll know that, okay, my audio is coming through now. So if you imitate this, you should get the same goal. Again, remember, if you got a console, it takes the place of my camera that I'm using there. So that camera would become the PS65 or PS or Xbox 94 or whatever you use these days. You plug it in, the audio feed will come into your USB device of your laptop, your computer, even an Android I tested it on, which worked. So I'll link you in the cards to like a full playlist. So if you're in this scenario, it should help you get started and kind of get you in that place. But I'm not going to waste any of your time. What I'll do is I'll show you how I set it up on OBS. So if I take it to my OBS screen, so here's my OBS screen and you can see HDMI is there. So that's me on the front view. You can see that is the capture source, which is I call it HDMI, but it's in theory the USB video. So you go down here, there's a little thing saying capture audio only. There's a little tick box underneath it which you can select, but there's another way I did it. I'll show you that way. So I did add source, and a part of these add sources, you can add a audio capture device or audio input capture. I used that, and then I selected add source and I picked my USB device from that list. And hello, testing 1 2, testing USB, testing 1 1. So you can see there that wasn't that loud at all. That was because I turned this mic off and I used just the camera mic. So it does feed audio via the USB HDMI capture card. So that should get you up and running. And yeah, I think that answers the question. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Again, with my other videos, I've made them all about this, so I'll link you to the playlist. But yeah, I'm using OBS. So if you have another software, I might not be able to help, but let me know and I'll try and make you a video because I know it helps you out. Okay, so that was a quick look at the setup there. So that was basically getting audio. So that answers the question asked by Michelangelo. Michelangelo. Okay, let's just, so how do you get sound with it? That's basically explaining that sound segment of it. So now you can use it to record sound as well. Let's have a few more questions and then we can wrap this up today. So I think that was a nice session. We were able to answer a number of questions people asked. Again, once this is available in replay, put your comments down below and next time I'll answer those questions. It's all about making your photography camera a live streaming camera. So that's interesting. Okay, so we've had a few more here. Give me the software link for this device. Amazon links are in the description, folks. So make sure to check out the Amazon links. All the capture cards, the cables that I use, the adapters and stuff are linked there as well. So that will basically get you to there. The Amazon associate link, so you can pick up and order your link, whichever country you're in, UK and US, there's 2 links there. How to use a software name, please. I buy online companies, send me the only device, not any DVD disc for software. Yes, you won't need any DVD discs for software. It's a plug and play. So if you've got a Windows computer and OBS, I was able to plug it in and it recognized it. You won't need to install on a CD if you don't have a CD drive. I think that's what you're getting towards. That was in Gujarati, I think. I translated it and he wasn't happy with the video. So I asked which bit of the video weren't you happy with? So let me know and I can update that. Mobile decay, can I use 13.5 of them though? You should buy them using this associates link and we can find out. So yeah, that was an interesting one. He was going to use 13.5. I'm sure you would love that. I dare you. Do it. Buy them. Mobile decay. You could buy them cards. Thanks for this video. I'll be using multiple cameras and this is great. Great job. I'm glad it worked for you. Yeah, it's good that people are able to set up now. So how to use to audio input, so we covered that off earlier and I think we have had a nice session today. Thank you for everybody joining and the questions have been answered that I was given, so I'm hoping that you find this useful. This is basically everything about live streaming with a photography camera. Well, everything about setting it up. We had segments about multiple angles as well covered in there and audio and different devices, so make sure to check out the replay of the show and I'll link you to another playlist of all these individual videos so you can check out the one you're interested in. Thank you for joining and I'll see you on the next week's photography live show.